Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Classic1333 coming to you live with a Impact review from March 17th, 2011. And as the angry video game nerd would say, tonight's TV show was a shitload of fuck. Or what a piece of shit, or whatever he says. Angry video game nerd is awesome. If you never watched his videos, check them out. They're funny as hell. So, anyway, tonight's show was pretty much craptacular, and storyline wise, the show was like, I guess, pushed some of them, which some of it was okay on that, but wrestling wise, aside from the main event, the show like really didn't have any, like a lot of wrestling. So we start the show off with Sting promo, and he comes out and calls out Hogan and Bischoff, and Hogan and Bischoff come out, and then Sting is complaining to them about like how like they destroyed Jeff Hardy's career or something, and then Hogan saying like that Hardy destroyed his own career or whatever, and I don't know. Basically, like he's been getting calls and anybody can replace Hardy, and then Bully Ray comes out and gets like in Sting's face and basically says that he wants to get a title shot, and then Fortune comes out, and then AJ's getting in Bully Ray's face and basically ripping on Bully Ray because, you know, Devon's been carrying him, not the other way around. And then Bully Ray says something funny to AJ, basically about, like, for the last 9 years he's been, getting breastfed by Dixie Carter. It was kind of funny. And then Anderson comes out and does his usual, I'm an asshole, where's my title shot thing that he's been doing the last couple weeks, which is funny. But, and then basically Bischoff makes a four-way main event that it's going to be Bischoff. It's going to be Anderson versus RVD versus AJ versus Bully Ray for the number one contendership or something. So that's our main event. So then we come backstage, back from a commercial break, and I guess before that, Angle had a present that he was taking out to the Impact Zone, and the camera guy's like, "What is it, Kurt? It's a big surprise." Obviously, if it's a surprise, you're never going to tell, what it is. That would spoil it, right? I guess. So whatever that was. Then we have AJ and RVD backstage, and then AJ is like trying to say like that he'll watch RVD's back if RVD kind of watches his back or something, and then RVD's like, "Dude, it's a four-way number one contendership match." He's like, "I'm gonna go out there and win, and you're gonna do your thing, dude," or something. So that was that. I thought it was kind of weird that they were trying to get like AJ to be like, "Oh, let's be buds" or something, versus him just being like, "It's every man for himself." Which later in the show he says that, but whatever. Then we have our first match of the night, our first match in the only hour of the first hour of the show. I think I just said the same thing twice. Madison Rayne versus Alyssa Flash, and this match went for about 30 seconds, I think. Basically, Alyssa Flash came out, and then Madison jumped her from behind, and then got her in the ring and hit the Zack Attack and pinned her for a 3 count. So I gave the match an 0 out of 5 because it sucked, because it was 20 seconds. And then Mickie James comes out, and then she wants another shot at Madison, and then Madison declines at first, saying that she's like, she keeps debating title shots and she keeps defeating her, but then finally she gets an idea that she wants Mickey's hair, so then that way she can like steal like her like hair flinging back thing, and then Mickie won't have any hair or something. So Mickie accepts. So at Lockdown it's going to be Madison Rayne versus Mickie James for the Knockouts title, hair versus title. So okay, storyline wise, but wrestling wise that sucked. Then we have Pope backstage, and he's working with like 3 people. One of them is blind, one of them's is crippled in a wheelchair, and the other one's just like this big fat girl or something. But I think she's just wearing some kind of suit or something, just the way it looked. So, yeah, you just know it's gonna suck. Then we come back from commercial break, and we have Anderson and Hogan backstage, and they're doing the same thing, arguing about when's Anderson gonna get his title shot, his one-on-one rematch that he owns or whatever. Then we come back to the ring, and we've got a Pope promo, and basically doing the same thing that they just did backstage. He was rehearsing it with the guys, and then what's funny is like the Orlando crowd once again kind of shows that they're not like the best audience for TNA, because when Pope's like talking on the mic and he's like being a bad guy and he's like, "Can I get an amen?" They all yell amen, which they shouldn't be doing because he's a bad guy. They ought to be booing him like the North Carolina crowd would have. So anyway, so basically like the blind guy like has glasses on and Pope like spits on his hands and takes the guy's glasses off and then the guy's like, I could see it, but like he couldn't even like speak to say it or anything. Like Chaz even said something funny about like, yeah, apparently Pope should fix his talking skills too. So it's kind of funny. That guy couldn't act, whoever that was. Then Pope helps the crippled guy stand up, and that guy was okay acting wise. And then he gets to the fat lady, and then he's like, not even the Lord can help you lose all that weight. And then Samoa Joe comes out, and then Pope's like, why do you keep getting in my business? And then he winds up pulling like Okada out of the ring, and he like takes a knife out, and he's got like a knife to him, and he's talking trash to Joe on the mic, and then they go up the stage ramp, and then Pope basically just like throws him to the ground, and then that's pretty much like that promo. Actually, he shows that he has like this fake knife. He's like, don't believe everything you see on TV. He's got like a fake knife. It was kind of a really dumb promo. Like I didn't really see what it did for anything. Sure, I guess it keeps the storyline going, but okay. I don't know. It's kind of like if like Coke and Pepsi were feuding, and you put like Coke and Pepsi, and then if Coke tells RC, that Pepsi sucks or something, it's like, why are you getting RC involved in the Coke versus Pepsi feud? That was probably a really strange description, but that's how I feel about this storyline. When they're actually like attacking each other or something, it makes sense. But like even backstage, like the next segment, we have like Okado's like held up like this backstage, and then Pope's like beating him. I don't know why they just didn't do that in the first place. Just have Pope like kidnap Okada and just torture him for like part of the show, and then Joe eventually finds him and saves him. Because even like this, like Pope was beating him up for a few minutes, and then Joe eventually finally comes to find him and save him, versus simply like Pope leaving and then Joe chases him, and then we come backstage or something like that. So I really didn't get what was up with that. I didn't like it. Then we have Anderson and RVD backstage, and then Anderson's kind of getting the thought that RVD's drinking, Hogan's Kool-Aid or something, and RVD's like, I'm not. I know what I'm doing or whatever. Then we have beautiful people backstage, and Velvet's like really excited that she's teaming up with Angelina tonight, like with Morgan in the street fight. And then Winter shows up and says that Angelina is teaming with her. And then Velvet's like, no, she's teaming with me. And they're kind of doing like a tug of war with Angelina, which was kind of funny. And then Angelina says that she's going to team with Winter tonight, so they take off. And then next we got Jeff Jarrett, Karen Angle promo. Basically, like, this promo wasn't bad. Jeff Jarrett was, it wasn't bad because Kurt Angle made it pretty good. Like, Jeff Jarrett was basically saying he wants a truce with Kurt Angle, but he wants Angle to, like, apologize to him and, beg for his forgiveness. And then Kurt Angle comes out, and he comes out with that gift he had earlier in the show. And then Jarrett opens it, and it's a guitar, and then Jarrett's, like, all excited, and then they're, like, posing, and then Angle smashes the guitar over his head. And then, starts talking trash, and then Karen tries to low blow him, and then Kurt just, like, stands up and pulls, like, a cup out of him. And then, like, Karen's, like, kind of trapped in the corner, and then Angle's, like, screaming at Jeff to, like, fight him at lockdown. And then Jarrett, like, accepts. So, because otherwise Angle's going to keep making their life a living hell each and every day. So, and about this point, we had, one match in the first hour. So, bad. So, what do I do? I complain about lack of wrestling, and what do? I get good wrestling here. We have Bischoff backstage with Gunnar Murphy and Rob Terry, and he says that because Abyss has been able to not defend the TV title, like, he's going to put the TV title up between the three of them. So we're going to get the greatest wrestling match ever next. So we're backstage again, and Karen calls the police. And so then we have the greatest wrestling match on TV in the history of TNA. We have Gunnar versus Murphy versus Rob Terry for the TV title. I'm sorry, I can't, like, stop laughing at how bad this is, but it's bad. So, how bad was this match? Well, during this match, they decided to show that Hulk Hogan's wife and Brooke Hogan were, like, in the crowd. And then they showed, like, footage of, like, the cops showing up at the arena, like, while this match was going on. And mind you, this match didn't last that long. It was like 3 minutes long, so I gave it a 1 out of 5. Basically, about the only thing that really happened in this match was Rob Terry hits that spin kick that he does, which isn't very good. And then Gunnar's like, spears Murphy, and then he hits like a modified F5. Which, granted, this move wasn't bad, but it's like a modified F5 on Murphy and pins him. So Gunner's the new TV champion. You know, they take it from a good guy like Douglas Williams, and then they gave it to Abyss, who sucks, but then they give it to a guy that kind of even sucks more than Abyss does. So that makes sense. Okay, so next we got AJ Styles backstage, and basically he's like, "Yeah, I tried to get RVD, to on my side, but it's okay. I'm cool with it. Every man for himself. That's all good." And then Ric Flair shows up, and then AJ's like, he's like, you got another problem than me. And then AJ punches him in the face, and he's like, that felt good. So it's kind of funny. Then we have a street fight, which actually, like, earlier in the week, I was kind of somewhat looking forward to this, and then they took a shit on it. So it was the Mexican Americans, Hernandez, Sarita, and Rosita against winner Angelina and Matt Morgan. 1 out of 5 I gave this match because it lasted about maybe 2 minutes, if that. Basically, it was kind of what you figure. Morgan beating up Hernandez, and then Sarita and Rosita brawling with winner and Angelina. Pretty much, I think Rosita and Sarita had the upper hand with them for a while because later they tried to grab Morgan to stop him from beating up Hernandez, and then Morgan kind of flung him off. And then the match just ends super quick. Remember Chris Harris's catatonic? It's basically like winner does that, except she does like a backbreaker version of it, and she pins Rosita with it, so they win the match. And then after the matchup, some guy that I guess helped Hernandez at Victory Road comes out. He's probably a new wrestler. I don't really know anything about him, but he jumps Morgan, and they start to beat him up, and then Morgan winds up hulking up and then scares them out of the ring. So that was that. Storyline progression, yeah, but match quality, it sucked. So, and then we get our main event, which was actually like a good match, but then it had a shitty ending. It was AJ Styles versus Bully Ray versus RVD versus Anderson. And granted, I know like a lot of people aren't like, fans of Bully Ray, like, becoming a #1 contender or getting a title shot or anything. But I don't mind Bully Ray doing that because, like, if he's gonna move on like in a singles career, it's good for him to not just wrestle Devon. And then at the same time too, like Bully Ray can he's good on the mic and he can actually like kind of wrestle a little bit. So I'm not upset with him getting a push or anything. So, but anyway, this match went for probably about a good 6 minutes or so, 6 or 7 minutes, and then it just ends out of nowhere like with a double pin. Bully Ray had grabbed a chair or something, and then Earl Hebner took it out of his hands, and the chair was in the ring, and then Mr. Anderson hits like a backdrop suplex on RVD, and both of them crash into the chair. And then they're both kind of laying on each other, but if you look at it, I think Anderson was more on RVD versus RVD even being on Anderson. But the ref counts the double pin, so they both pin each other again, via the pay-per-view. Anyway, yeah. And then after the matchup, there was kind of a cool brawl, Bully Ray and AJ were brawling for a while. And then AJ, hits Bully Ray with, I guess some part of the stage, a lamp thing or something. And then they're up on the stage, and then AJ's gonna he's beating up Bully Ray, and then Flair comes up from behind him and low blows him, and then Bully Ray's gonna hit him with the chair, but he's looking this way, and he stops, and then he grabs AJ and powerbombs him off the stage. But instead of just dropping him, he went with it, kind of like how he used to powerbomb women off the stage, in WWE back in the early days, in his career, when he powerbombed Mae Young off the stage. So he does that to AJ. It was pretty cool. And, but what I didn't like is they come back from the break, and it's they just wasted, the last 10 minutes, they show AJ, getting stretchered out of the arena, and, I felt like they could have, made the match longer and then just, did that. I would have liked it better if they'd have just, had a longer match, and then at the end of it, Bully Ray powerbombs AJ off the stage, and then that's how you end the show, Surprising, shocking, but even if he is getting stretchered, they still could have showed that next week, so. But yeah, that was TNA Impact. Storyline progression, some of it was there. So I kind of liked some of that, but wrestling-wise, aside from the main event, it was shitty. That was TNA Impact. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.